days of the year and I'm wearing a jumper. Alrighty, here we go again. Welcome back to Talk Horror to Me, and today I'm gonna talk some horror to you. Today we're gonna spoil the 2018 slasher film Hellfest. Set inside a travelling scare park, a group of college students are stalked and preyed upon by a serial killer disguising himself as a scare actor in amongst all the mazes. Now, the film was initially supposed to be a yearly release franchise deal, such as Saw, Paranormal Activity, slated to start in 2012. But when the original director abandoned the project, it took a bit of time to get it back up and running with a new director. But then that director abandoned the project too. So with everything that went on, filming didn't actually start until early 2018. Released later that year to generally mixed, unfavorable reviews. I guess the franchise idea was also abandoned. I do think it's probably the right vessel for that kind of franchise. The scare park can always be revamped and upcycled, and the characters can be different every time, and the kills can be more elaborate as time goes on. I would be hopeful that the franchise would take off in that capacity if I didn't dislike this first film so much. But I like the premise. I think the premise is good, but I don't like our main cast of protagonists. I completely hate the pretty obviously improvised dialogue half the time. I liked the hints of irony in the kills that were speckled about, but the scares were stale and the atmosphere wasn't executed well. And unfortunately, because I didn't enjoy watching the main cast, I didn't really enjoy watching the film at all. It didn't evoke any of the right emotions in me. I wasn't scared. I wasn't supportive in them. I wasn't empathetic or anything. I wanted them all to die. Sorry, it didn't land for me at all. We start this film in a scare park in a separate timeline, and we witness the murder of a girl cut off from her friends inside the scare maze. Then we cut to introducing our main cast. We've got Brooke, Natalie, Taylor, Quinn, Asher, and Gavin. And I had to Wikipedia and note down all of those names because I didn't know them throughout the film. And I watched this film twice in a row and then edited all the clips. So I've seen this film 3 times in the space of 24 hours and I still didn't know their names half the time. The only ones I actually knew were Taylor, because she was annoying, and Gavin, because everyone kept talking about how he liked Natalie and that was his only character trait. So they kept repeating his name all the damn time. So they're all going to the scare maze, and right at the start we find out that that first kill in the opening happened at a scare maze a couple of weeks before.
A girl got completely gutted in a haunted house, like for real.
The killer left her body in the park for 3 days. No one found her until she started to stink. They thought she was a freaking prop.
Then we follow an unknown man into the park. He's slow. He's ominous. Could he be our killer? Fucking duh.
Oh my god, dude, you don't scare me. Go back to the other freaks.
Oh, this bitch. She really annoyed me. Why are you so standoffish? You're in a scare park. Don't go to the scare park. Don't go to Hellfest if you're gonna scream at everyone that works there. They're doing their job.
What is up with all these assholes? You think you're scaring me? Oh, you're so scary. No, move.
I ain't mad about what happens to you later on in the movie. The group are quickly singled out by a character known only as the Other. They are these featured actors around the park with this particular mask on. Someone has taken on that role as a disguise for his darker intentions, even managing to get away with killing someone right in front of Natalie, with her even encouraging him.
Okay, just do it.
I would be sad about it, but it's the bitch from earlier, and you deserve it, you moody cow. So after a bunch of run-ins with this particular Other, Natalie is convinced that he's not just another scare park actor. Her friends don't believe her, trying to calm her down, reminding her we've seen loads of them throughout the park. So she thinks, well, maybe I am just paranoid. Unfortunately, he ends up killing Gavin, and it's a lot harder to pretend that Natalie's just paranoid. After trying to impress his intended dick sleeve by winning her a stuffed toy in the arcade games, just as they're about to head over to another part of the park, he splits off from the group. Like, oh, I'm gonna go to the bathroom for 30 minutes. So he goes back to try and win her a toy. He doesn't. Then he finds the stock room with all the toys in. But he also finds the Other, whose intentions turn from creepy to fatal. Bye, Gavin. Should have told Natalie how you felt sooner. So now the rest of the group are heading towards the Deadlands, a portion of the park where the actors are allowed to touch you. You sign a waiver, they can touch you, pick you up, even throw goop at you. And inside the Deadlands is apparently the scariest maze of all. You've got 3 choices, but let's be real, they're all fucking morbid because this scare park is on crack.
Okay, guys, I think this is a triple maze. Sleep like a baby, very bad dreams, your worst nightmare.
Your worst nightmare. Hey, wait up!
Oh, catch us up.
A lot of the issue I have with this film, aside from the main cast, is progression and timing and things of that nature. Especially after Gavin dies, it takes a while to pick up pace again. So there's no urgency, and I'm not worried, I'm not scared, I don't really feel anything other than I'm waiting for a jump scare. It felt particularly slow, and it's only 89 minutes. So we focus in on Asher. Asher's this one, by the way. And he dies in the triple maze whilst all of his friends are waiting outside for him. Nice. I must admit, they don't shy away during these kills, and I do appreciate that. Then they leave the maze, leaving Asher behind, and also going further away from where Gavin is. Great friends, guys. They're in the audience for a live show hosted by Big Daddy of Horror, Tony Todd. You'll no doubt recognize him from big horror heavyweights such as Candyman, Final Destination, The Crow. Is The Crow a horror film? Night of the Living Dead. And of course, Queen of Obnoxious Taylor has volunteered to be part of it.
We must spill the blood of, wait for it, a virgin.
So about that whole virgin thing, I think we might have a problem.
Me. She's placed in a guillotine of sorts, although it looks pretty shitty, but Natalie's having a breakdown in the audience. But turns out the executioner is the other. Wow. Who saw that one coming? Innovative. Wow. We stand. Her death's pretty long and drawn out. I mean, actually, you don't even see her die.
Can you get me out?
But she's kept in the guillotine, and he puts it down on her head, and it just sort of cuts her back of her neck a little bit. It's a little bit convoluted, and as well as a bit of a slap in the face because it doesn't really go anywhere at the time. She just runs out and then ends up getting stabbed. And because she runs out to her friend, she also gets Quinn stabbed as well. We don't see them again. I'll assume they died, but bye-bye Taylor. Now the only distinguishable character is dead. She might have been annoying. Like, really annoying. But she was the only one whose name I remembered. See, it pays to be irritating. That's how I get by in life. And now security's been alerted, but of course, that's not ideal, really, because there are loads of fucking actors in the park wearing that mask.
I think this is an exit.
I think this is an exit. Bruh, you know that's a maze. This is another problem I have here. I mean, all of these kids are fucking dumb. I just think we have been spoiled by such intelligent protagonists in recent horror films, right? Like You're Next, Ready or Not, Scream. So these characters, alongside being criminally underdeveloped, are also impossible to empathize with because they're fucking stupid. No, it's not an exit, but go in there, get your leg chopped off and fuck off already. Also, a little petty note probably, but I just don't buy these two girls' friendships.
Can't stay mad.
Can't stay mad.
I just don't. So whenever it's referenced, I just fall out of the movie completely, even more than I already had. No best friends need to talk about how they're best friends all the damn time. It might just be me, but it's so saccharine in my opinion. Maybe I'm just a miserable bitch. Maybe my best friend's just a miserable bitch. If we had like matching necklaces and I grabbed mine every time like we argued about something and said, can't stay mad, she'd punch me. And if she did that, I'd punch her as well. Miss me with that shit, I could never. Seeing as there are now proven to be real murders going on in the park, it's being shut down, and Natalie runs away with Brooke, because all of their friends are dead, and they run directly into another maze, mistaking this for an exit, because they were both obviously dropped on their head repeatedly in their infancy. As they attempt to maneuver their way around it, we see a bunch of cheap scares and a bunch of stale atmosphere, and I don't really care. They realise the scare doors are all activated by laser triggers in the doorways. This is zoomed in on and referenced, so I imagine this is going to be relevant later. Don't quote me on that. The other gets a shot in at Brooke with an axe, so now she's down half a functioning leg, so the pacing's going to be even slower. Because now, Brooke is limping her way around the maze, which they shouldn't have gone into in the first place because it obviously wasn't a fucking exit. This shot's very reminiscent of Scream 3, where Sarah Darling's running around the stab studio away from Ghostface, and there's prop Ghostface costumes in there as well. Love that. But was this a nice little homage, or was it stolen content? Oh, as if. Mannequin arm's not really going to incapacitate him, is he? He's fucking superhuman at this point. There we go. The butt of an axe certainly will. So now Natalie's unconscious, Brooke's on her own and down half a leg. More shitty jump scares and more falling over. Okay, so I'm going to jump back a little bit. It is so apparent in this film that these actors were not given much of a script. They were given plot points and they were given beats to hit and they were given a few lines to eventually get to, but for the most part it's so obvious that a lot of their dialogue is improvised and it's garbage.
I'm starting to get the feeling our friends think something's gonna happen between us.
Really? No, I hadn't noticed that at all.
Oh, really? You don't get that vibe at all? It's very
just
subtle.
You're picking up on that.
Yeah, it's just me.
In my opinion, they just don't seem comfortable improvising at all. Except Taylor. Taylor seemed to do a pretty good job of it. There you go. There's one redeeming quality of your main cast. They just sort of speak for the sake of speaking, not because they have anything to say. You know what I mean? And here we are. The laser trigger's gonna come back into play now. We saw that coming, you know. As the other creeps in on Brooke, who has of course just fallen down and not got up again because that's what women do in horror films. Out pops Natalie to stab the other and pull her bestie to safety. Yay, they're safe. They're safe and no one cares. The police finally show up. It's definitely been like half an hour. 3 murders. Let me finish my donuts and I'll be there. And they come back to tell the 2 girls that they can't find him. He's gone. My question is, why aren't they both in an ambulance on the way to the hospital? Natalie's definitely concussed. Brooke's had a hole in her leg for the last hour. She's definitely bleeding out. As much as I do not enjoy the bulk of this film, shock, did you pick up on that? I appreciate the deaths and I appreciate the production, but I don't rate much else in this film. But I like this ending a whole lot. The reveal of the killer just being a normal seeming dad, murdered all these people and just went home to his daughter, and he bought her a stuffed toy from the scare park too. Oh look, he's got different masks to wear for different murder occasions. I imagine the clown one, yeah, that clown one right there, that's the one for the fancy murders, the ones you really dress up for, you know? And that's it. I see where they could have opened this up into a yearly franchise kind of deal, but if this film is any frame of reference, that would have got boring so quickly. I'm already bored. On to the dates. I don't think I have a favourite quote from this film. I've watched it 3 times already and nothing springs to mind. I think my favourite death was probably Gavin. Because it's the first one, I didn't really know where the murders were gonna go in terms of intenseness, in terms of gore, and then suddenly you just break his face open in front of me. Wonderful. The best character in this film is Tony Todd. Because it's Tony Todd.
Welcome, children of the night!
The worst character? Quinn? I don't know, the whole squad were pretty meh. So thank you for watching me spoil Hellfest. Clearly I didn't like this film as much as other movies I've featured on my channel, but that is what it's all about, baby. Subscribe below. Let me know what you think about Hellfest. I would love to talk to someone who loved it. I would really like to know why, and I would really like to understand. But now, I'm gonna go get my first drink of the day. I'm not wearing a watch, I don't know why I looked. It's 1 o'clock and I'm getting my first drink of the day, so, you know, progress for your girl. So I'm getting a drink, and you're getting punched in the face.